The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, hello, everyone. Thanks for coming today. This is Ed DeVille with M-Files. I think we have some exciting things to show you today. Joining me today, I have Jimmy Newman. I think most of you may have met Jimmy if you attended the Miami Partner Conference. Jimmy is now our Technical Enablement Manager for the Americas. I also have Aaron Howerton on the phone. He is our Sales Enablement Manager for the Americas. And then I also have Stephanie from marketing. Stephanie has just joined M-Files just a few months ago, and she is in our marketing and will be providing a lot of content in our marketing literature that you guys will see very soon. So today, and first of all, from a logistics perspective, if anybody has any audio problems or anything like that, there is an alternative to the computer audio that you have. There's a phone number that you can dial into and also get the audio like that. If you do have any troubles or just general questions, please use the chat line. So everyone is muted at this point. And this webinar is being recorded. So this will be shared and it will be part of the partner portal for your later reference. So let's go ahead and get started. So we're going to talk about an application that we template that we've put together, what we're terming the back office vault solution. So from a logistics perspective and agenda perspective, I want to go through and some of the challenges that we're seeing out there and in the real purpose behind of building something like this. And then we'll go through an overview of what we have included. We'll go through a demo, and then we'll get into some pricing and Q&A. So I know we've got about an hour to do this. I'll make sure I'm sharing my screen here to everyone. Make sure you're getting that. There we go. Hopefully everybody can see that. So from agenda perspective, again, we're going to go through the challenges, the purpose of why we created this. We're going to go through an overview of the solution and a demo and a pricing that we're going to be releasing today. And this will be available today. After today, it will be in the partner portal. And then we'll get into a Q&A session. So from a challenges perspective, obviously everyone on this line has been selling M-Files, and there's certain challenges when we're doing that. Is essentially M-Files, as we all know, can do a lot of different things, and we're essentially selling a platform or concept to a customer. Even though we've got demos and we've got different templates already set up, and I know a lot of partners even on the line today have maybe even done some different types of vaults, but that really translates into kind of your sales cycle. I mean, we've all had, trying the challenge of getting the customer to buy today, and why should they buy today? And when you're selling a platform or concept, that can be a little challenging, and your sales cycles can drag out. So that's one of the challenges that we see. The other one is post-sale. I know everyone, when we go to close a sale, one of the first things that we're doing with a customer is doing the requirements gathering. And a lot of times during that requirements gathering, customers don't know what they don't know. And so it's no fault of the customer themselves. It's just trying to understand, what the capabilities M-Files can do, and then designing the system accordingly. So there's a lot of educational process that goes on during that. And it's been many, many times, I'm sure you guys can, I've been in many discussions with you, that as soon as we go to a close, it may be 3 or 4 months before we actually have a live vault, which translates into delays in getting a win with the customer, and sometimes even frustrating the customer, and of course even frustrating yourselves as being partners and trying to get this done. So there's challenges on the way. Again, not necessarily things that we do this on a daily basis, but again, we're trying to try to minimize those particular challenges. So the purpose of this particular vault is to create a pre-configured vault that addresses each of one of these challenges, and then do it in a way and apply to the small businesses up to 50 users. And so obviously this could apply to other businesses, but we're trying to, as we all do, and as you know, MFiles plays in its small to medium business very, very well. It's not to say that we don't have enterprise customers, which we do, as many of you guys have brought them to our table, but we're trying to gear toward the SMB market. Okay, so these next 10 or 12 slides is actually going to be part of a presentation that you guys are going to be able to present to the customer, and that will be that will also be in the partner portal. This presentation I'm giving, it will also be in the partner portal. Hopefully everybody, Jimmy, I just want to make sure everybody, can you hear me? Because I did have someone say they lost audio, just making sure.
Yep, you're fine.
Okay, maybe they're just having trouble. So let's go ahead and get into it. So what is the back office vault? It basically is an intelligent and secure solution for the management of information and documentation of back office operations. One of the things I want to point out on this slide is that I am using the term information and documentation on purpose. As you guys know, MFiles can do a lot more than just documents. It's really an information management system, okay? So what are we including? If I was to start a business today, or most businesses that we step into have certain needs or basic needs within their organization, and usually they're broken down into two areas. What one will term as the cost centers, which would be like your accounting records, your HR's records, your asset management records. And then the other side would be your kind of your profit centers, your project management, your CRM, some contracts, that you're having to track. So this is kind of a typical need of a small business. And so we're trying to address each one of those in this pre-configured vault, okay? So from an account records perspective, over here on the left-hand side, as you know, and you probably do this already with your customers, these are the different types of documents that we're addressing with accounting every day today. Within the vault, all these document types are already built, but we'll talk about how we design the vault when we get into the, Jimmy's presentation here from a technical end, because it's very, very important to understand how we design this from your perspective as a partner. The other thing we included was an AP workflow. So almost all businesses that we stay in today, and a good business that we sell MFiles to, is AP. So we included that out of the box. The second thing we also included was a purchase order workflow. A lot of small businesses, when you're trying to get an order from them, you ask them if they have a PO system. A lot of them don't. Majority of them don't. So this gives them the ability to basically, we've set up a purchase order template using Excel, and then they can use a workflow to generate that. So it's kind of a little mini purchase order system they can use within their operations. We've also included HR management. As you know, that these are all the different document types for HR. Again, most of these are included. All of these are included in the vault. We've also included two workflows. One is what we call an absent workflow, or whenever an employee needs to take sick day or vacation time, now they have the ability to do that with a standard workflow out of the box. We've also included an employee data workflow. This applies to employee data, so it kind of gives the employee, the company, an ability for a self-service for the employees. So if an employee's address changes, an employee can just simply go in there, and it will kick off a workflow and notify in this case, an HR person that employee's address has changed. It could be bank information, could be whatever information change, a phone number, that will be part of this workflow. We've also included asset management. So asset management's relatively straightforward, but most companies out there, they have computers, they've got furniture, they may even own property. Any assets they need to track or store around documents, property tax information, whatever the case may be, now they have that ability out of the box to do that. We've also included what we'll term here as a CRM Lite. It is the ability for, again, the documents that are related to it are, the RFPs, the quotes, the sales purchase orders, the sales agreements, but they're also able to track their opportunities. So you can see here, we just basically kept the status of it relatively simple. We're not pretending to be a Salesforce in an application like this, but it's kind of what we're terming it a CRM Lite. So companies can have that ability to track their information. Okay. We've also included the ability to do projects. So a lot of the companies that we deal with, I know everybody's probably familiar with the AEC market. We do a lot around that. So we wanted to include that. And these are some of the document types that are also in classes that are already involved and organized here. We've also included contract management. Hopefully everybody is familiar with our contract management template today. And really what it is we took a subset of that and included it as part of this project, as part of this pre-configured vault. So if you're familiar with it, again, gives the companies the ability to track their contracts from an effective date, contract terms, when things are expiring, the status of it, and it also includes a workflow and signatures and electronic signatures, which we'll talk about here in a second. We've also included some other generic workflows that applies to other applications. I'm sorry. I believe my presentation went awry here, so give me 1 second. It just closed down all of a sudden. Apologize that. Give me 1 second. And just about there. Oh, Jimmy, I am Outlook is going crazy. I mean, PowerPoint is going crazy on me here. So give me 1 more second, everybody. I apologize. Let's see if we can get this to work. One more thing here. Jimmy, can you confirm you can see that now?
Yep, we can.
Okay, I apologize everyone for that. But we've also included 4 generic workflows in this pre-configured vault. One is a generic document workflow. Again, the customer may need to just send a document through a particular workflow. So we set up just a straight approval type of workflow. We've also included an issue workflow, which is, it could be something to the essence of an accident. It could be an employee issue. It could be anything that's related to that an issue within that organization. They could use this workflow to resolve that. We've also included DocuSign as part of this package that you'll see here shortly. So we've included a DocuSign workflow. And we've included a milestone workflow. Most of the time, milestones are related to contracts or projects, but it could be related to accounting, could be an employee milestone, could be related to other back offices. So we applied that. So it can be literally any object that we've got in here could be applied with a milestone workflow. So as you guys know, these are some of our features that you're very familiar with. I'd include this slide as again, this is going to be part of a slide deck that is going to be that you can use for your customers. So this is something that you can kind of a summary to the customer of everything that they would get with that pre-configured vault. You'll notice a couple of things that I want to point out. Notice that, and I said earlier that we're including DocuSign, and we are. We're also going to include OCR. So OCR will be part of this as part of the solution. And the rest of this is that you guys are very familiar with, that are standard mFiles features. So, what are the benefits? Again, this is what you would be communicating to your customer. This should look very familiar. It's kind of some of the standard things that we're doing today with mFiles. Other than we've got the pre-built out-of-the-box workflows. We've even got out-of-the-box views set up. We've even got security groups set up, which Jimmy will show you here in a second. And we'll talk about that, how we designed it. So with that said, I'm going to switch it over to Jimmy. Jimmy, I'm going to give you control.
Thanks, Ed.
Okay.
You see my screen?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. So we're going to do a quick demo. I'm not going to bore you with the general M-Files demo. You all should know that pretty well, but wanted you to understand from an administration perspective how things were architected, so you kind of begin to understand what's going to be required from you as the partner to implement this particular solution. And like Ed said, we're trying to get you to a quick win. We're trying to get you to a solution that when you walk into those opportunities, there's a lot of decisions a lot of times that have to be made that perhaps become difficult. They end up dragging out the sales cycle, and we wanted you to have a vault that was usable out of the box, so you can drop it right into just about every opportunity you run into, and give you a quick win and minimize the amount of services you have to not only scope out but implement on the front end. And that's not to say that there may not be services you have to provide. We just wanted to make it easier from a partner's perspective to be able to implement those features. So as Ed mentioned, we're tackling several different verticals within an organization. So everybody's got an HR department or HR functions. Everybody's got accounting functions. And then they always have some sort of general asset management or need to track some sort of assets from an accounting and reporting perspective. But then we've got those profit centers in an organization that a lot of times help drive the close of deal for an opportunity. And so in that, we've included a project management piece, contract lifecycle management, as well as CRM. And what you'll notice from the hierarchical view here is there are several object types that are prefixed, and there are some that are not. And what we've done here is we've tried to make it incredibly obvious which object types may be candidates for removal, because you may walk into an opportunity of which the small office vault is a great candidate, but they have no need for project management, or maybe they have no need for a CRM solution. And there are components of the vault that you could get rid of just to simplify the structure. And so anytime you see something that's prefixed in the vault structure, that's something that's a candidate for removal. Anything that's not prefixed is an object that is shared amongst other areas of the solution. So there's a lot of cross-referencing between our various objects, and we're reusing a lot of objects in various scenarios. And the first one I kind of want to talk about and describe as our organization object, because in some implementations you walk into, you might have an object for your vendors, you might have an object for your leads, your prospects, and your customers. And those could all be separate objects, but what we've done in this particular vault is we've collapsed that structure, and we're simply using a metadata value to differentiate a customer from a vendor, from a lead, from a prospect, and we're doing that via the organization type. And again, that's a value list that's already set up. It's got some options in there, but as Ed may have mentioned early on, this is not a vault that we're locking down and preventing you from making modifications to along the way. It's simply a starting line. We're trying to advance that starting line from an implementation perspective, so you're free to make those changes and tailor it to a customer's requirements if they already have some specific requirements laid out. So what we're calling organization here is used for any type of organization that may be associated to the various elements of a vault. Another one that is kind of is mapped across various areas of the system is person. So we're using that for our employee object along with external contacts. And external contacts may be associated to an organization. They could be associated to projects and contacts on specific projects. They could be associated to assets or milestones, issues. Anything that's got an external contact that would be pulled in and associated to the system is what this particular object type would be used for. The others are pretty obvious throughout here. We've got our CRM components for our opportunities and campaigns, our contract life cycles, our PM, our project management area. The last one I want to spend some time talking about, though, is the standard out-of-the-box document object. And as you know, anytime you walk into an opportunity, you may have a stack of requirements handed to you that suggest you've got 50 or 75, maybe even more than 100 individual document types to create. And as you know, we call those classes. And so you have lots of classes that you have to create under the document object. And that's still certainly something that you could do, But to try to ensure, again, that we give you something that's out of the box, implementable, without a lot of effort, we've taken a bit of a different approach, and it's a different paradigm to your typical M-Files installation. And what we've done, I'm going to use project management as an example, is you'll notice here, although there's generally several different types of project management documents that may exist, we've only created one class for those. And if I take a look at the properties for that, you'll notice that you've got the typical property values, but in any scenario that property values are shared, or could consistently be shared among that particular document type, we've simply used a subtype or another property or metadata value. This PM document type is doing a lookup to another object, our document type object, which I'll talk about in a minute. And what this allows you to do is perhaps create all those document types right from the client. So you don't have to come in here and copy and modify all of the metadata values on a new class every time they want a new class. Or perhaps you teach the customer how to implement their own new document types. And I'll show you that over in the client in a moment, kind of how that looks. But a lot of the object or the document object class types share that same type of approach using a document type object lookup to pull the list of those. If we go take a look at the document type object down here, you'll see at the moment it's just simply the name of the document type. We've got an is active flag on there and then a description. But what this allows the system to do, this is the approach we oftentimes take when we do a records management solution out of the box, is allows you to maybe associate records classes or retention schedules to that particular document type and class. So rather than having to reinvent the wheel or go modify every class that's already been created, you can simply come add the new property values to the document type and then begin to have an effect on the entire solution from a retention or records management standpoint. The as active flag is there now because, as you know, if you walk into an opportunity and maybe they give you a list of 50 doc types that you need to create, that's oftentimes pretty burdensome on the new end user who's trying to learn the system. They've now got 50 choices to make. Oftentimes the customer will come back and say, you know what, we gave you a list of 50, but it probably makes more sense if we get rid of 5 or 10 of those, but we've already stuck a bunch of documents in those areas. You know, that's kind of complicated to maybe go reclassify all those documents, and maybe they've got thousands of them in there now. And so what you can simply do is maybe just go set that to is active is to false, and no longer that doc type will show up on the list, and you can worry about converting those documents later or just leave them in their doc type and ensure that nobody is classifying them to that area any longer. So that's the association of the document type class. Again, we got CRM, project management, I've mentioned already. CLM stands for the contract lifecycle management solution. That's our contract type, but as you know, contracts are generally document based, so that's why you see contract lifecycle management here, and we've got all of our contract attachments and notices there as well. We've also got an object, a general object for communications, correspondence back and forth that may be associated to your CRM activities. It could also be the correspondence associated to your contracts, so another very shared object in the solution. I'm going to take a moment though to go talk about the users and user groups. As Ed mentioned early on, we've already tried to take into account again, a lot of the things that you take a lot of time when you're implementing an M-File solution, and I would venture, I guess, anywhere from 20 to 30% of that time is a lot of times invested in managing the permissions. So what we've tried to do is ensure all of the permissions are already applied out of the box using a standard set of user groups. So all of the objects, the classes, the workflows, the state transitions have already taken into account these particular user groups. So the idea is when you walk into a new solution in a new implementation, you can just simply associate users to these existing groups per the areas of interest they have in the solution. It will ensure that they can only access the content that's relevant to them, but it also simplifies the user interface. So they don't have a long list under the create option. They don't have a list of all the views that have already been created and implemented. They've got content that's just relevant to them. You could also map the M-Files user groups to domain user groups. So again, using that synchronization when you implement at a customer site is something that will simplify this implementation. You could also just use standard internal infiles users, but the user groups are built out of the box. We've also got a stack of default demo users that are already created that'll be provided in the demo guide that'll be out in the partner portal with a vault. So you can log in and see the various functionality that's available to every user and so on. I'm going to step down now and talk a bit about the workflows that Ed presented to you. Like he mentioned, we've taken into account some standard accounting workflows. I'm going to start with purchase order. I think Ed already described. We went ahead and built a template off of this particular vertical within accounting. So if you go create a purchase order in M files, you create the metadata card. We're going to go ahead and render that content to a purchase order template. There's a lot of small businesses, that this vault would be a good candidate for. Like Ed said, they may not have any ability to create a purchase order, and even M files, when you're submitting orders to us, we like to have a purchase order submitted, and so we're going to use M files to go ahead and create that and those opportunities if they desire, and then we're going to go ahead and put it into a workflow process. And so we're simply just going to route it to the cost centers manager for approval. So a cost center is a required property in a purchase order. It will route it out to that individual. They've got the ability to approve it. We're going to automatically assign it and notify back the person who created it so they can go execute that order. You may walk into an opportunity where they have a purchasing department, in which case you could route it over to the purchasing manager so they could actually go procure the goods and complete that purchase order. So just some simple workflow logic that's there and kind of ready to use. Again, it's not locked down, so it's something you guys can modify along the way as needed, but I wanted to give you a good starting foundation for this particular implementation. Accounts payable takes a bit of a similar approach. Same routing logic applies here. Although in this one, I kind of took into account that you may want to use a capture solution on the front end, maybe Chronoscan or SideGen or whatever capture solution that you push and sell and like to use and have experience with. As you know, a lot of those capture solutions would have the ability to, maybe based upon the vendor or the description, may be able to go ahead and assign a cost center. And so if it comes into M files with the cost center metadata associated to it based upon the import that you've applied, we're going to go ahead and automatically route it to that cost center's manager. If we don't have enough of that detail, we'll send it to accounting to do some workup, provide any metadata that's missing before it gets routed out for approval. Then the approver again's got the ability to approve, reject, create an exception on that invoice. Again, with the idea that you may walk into an opportunity that you may need to do some advanced routing techniques because maybe the CEO wants to see every invoice over $10,000 or over $5,000. As you know, that's as simple as adding another state and a couple of transitions to this workflow to maybe escalate it, and several approaches you can take there. But again, a good foundation to kind of start with for accounting. But keeping in mind that if we use capture on the front end, we may want to fully automate this workflow process for accounting. It's as simple as adding another state here after approved before complete to maybe say write record to the ERP system. And so I've got personal experience with Infinium and Great Plains and Oracle EBS. All of those solutions have staging tables and or they accept Excel files. So it's just a matter of a few lines of script within a workflow state to maybe write that content out to an ERP system and have a fully automated workflow solution from capture to pay. So again, kind of teed up right out of the box. And since I mentioned scripts at this point, I do want to take a moment to describe that one of the features of this solution that was paramount in our minds is ensuring that we delivered it to you with no scripts. So we wanted to ensure that you weren't going to have any difficulties combating existing implementations. So there's no custom Vault apps aside from the IML and DocuSign Vault apps that are applied to the solution out of the box. But no scripts are applied. That's not to say you can't add them. We just don't want you to have to combat any of them. Again, ensuring that quick win, ease of implementation, and having to worry about any custom features that may be broke in your modification. So again, no scripts, but certainly have the ability to add them. Ed touched on our contract lifecycle management solution. Again, this is straight from our template, and we pulled and imported that into the vault and structured it around our architecture here. HR, employee absence, again, we're going to route it to an employee supervisor to approve or reject. So this is where they could go put sick time in, just create a metadata card saying I want to take some time off, and then allowing their manager to approve or reject that and resubmitting as required. We took a lot of our HR functions out of our HR demo template vaults, but also kind of based it upon our own internal HR vault. So that structure includes this concept of employees' public data and their protected data. Because from a public data perspective, there's a lot of things that everybody in the organization probably needs access to. If I'm a project manager, I may need to see, Ed's contact information because I need to reach out to him because Jimmy hasn't reported in a certain period of time, or maybe see what his home telephone number is, or whatever information an organization wants to make public to the rest of the organization would be public data. Private data would obviously be social security number, maybe bank account information, emergency contact information, although that could be public if need be. But the idea is just trying to implement that solution that provides the out-of-the-box functionality for the users. The workflows here again are for the purposes of notifying HR perhaps that you've made a change, let's say to your protected data. Maybe you've updated your bank account information and they may need to go update that in a payroll system. So making sure that they're aware that a change has been made is the idea behind the concept there. The other generic workflows Ed kind of touched on are built around issues and milestones. So these actually came over as a part of our contract lifecycle solution. But we realized that there is a good generic need there for maybe project management issues or milestones associated to project management. I've even heard some examples around accounting where they may want to set milestones for tax filing and reporting dates. So proactively notifying them, making them aware, allowing them to mark those milestones as complete is another opportunity there in the vault as well, along with issues. Document reviews, another one that's just a general review process, may need some customization depending on how they want to use it. An example may be for receipt approval, for expense report approval. Lots of different approaches that could be taken there, but wanted to ensure there was a generic workflow available for you to just put content through a series of steps for review, approval, and rejection. And then, as mentioned already, we're including the DocuSign licensing out of the box, and we've included the workflow and all the configuration in the vault associated to that. So hopefully there's not a lot of work you'll have to do from an implementation perspective to make DocuSign work is the idea. They would simply need to have their DocuSign licensing available and procured, and it's a matter of updating their login information within the vault parameters to make that fully functional. I'm going to step over now to the client.
Hey, Jimmy, before you leave that, just real quick, just show them the value list that is included. Just show.
Oh, sure.
There's a decent amount of value lists that are included with this out of the box.
Right, absolutely. We've obviously got all of the countries built in there. We've got our contract types or campaign types. I was looking, there's organization types. So customer lead, partners, prospecting, vendors. So lots of value lists built in, out of the box, ready to use.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll step over to the client now. I just want to kind of give you a view of the all of the views that are available. Again, we've taken into account the various areas and verticals that have been applied here. So a standard set of views for accounting, contract lifecycle management, CRM, HR, project management. So all of those are there and available to use. And then, the ability to create all of the content is functional and ready to go as well, and also secured. But I did want to use this opportunity to kind of describe that document type concept that I touched on earlier. So if I come out here and I want to create a new project management document and want to upload that into M files, we'll come out here, we'll create our metadata card. When the card displays here, I'll choose my document type from that list of subtypes. And again, you saw that there was only a one class created for project documents, but I've got a long list here, and that's because those are just associated to the document type object that we've created in mFiles. So if I decide I need to begin tracking a new doc type in mFiles, I can just come out here and say new document type. I'll do PM and Jimmy's doc type. We'll go ahead and set that one to active. And we'll associate that to a document category, which is a value list where all of my various document categories are associated. I'll choose project documents, create that. Now, if I come out here and try to create a new document, I'll now have a new choice there under the project document. So I'll be able to choose the Jimmy's new doc type as one of the options here. So again, if they hand you that long list of doc types, or perhaps again, a lot of times that's what's delaying the sales cycle. They can't internally decide on how many different doc types they want to have, how they want to organize things. Just set it up as it is out of the box and let them create them. Show them how to create their new doc types along the way. So that's the paradigm that's been applied there. And then again, also if you know they decide, or maybe out of the box they have a need for a records management solution, this approach allows you to come begin associating new metadata values that drive retention functionality, records management functionality that you can build on the backside. I've also logged in here as the sales director. So Avi has logged in here as the sales manager. You'll notice his UI is far more simplistic. Again, we believe that's very important in any implementation, is in ensuring that the users the end users that are going to be partaking in functionality of mFiles only have access to the things that are of interest to them, because it can become very cumbersome when they come out here and they try to create a new document, for example, and they've got a very long list of choices here to choose from. Right here, these are just the areas of content that are specific to Avi. So he can create a purchase order because he belongs to that class. He's a department manager. He's got access to all the CRM content, but he can also add general documents, private documents that are just for his eyes only, his HR employee documents for himself or maybe his subordinates, and then correspondence that's kind of that general catch-all where they would log activity in the CRM solution. You'll also notice that he's got access to several absences here that came to him for approval as a part of the workflow process. And so again, just ensuring a simplified user interface on behalf of the users, the goal here, and that's driven by those user groups that we talked about earlier. All right, so I'm going to stop there. Again, if you've got any questions along the way, please post them in the webinar controls. We'll get to those at the end here. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Ed.
Thank you, Jimmy. So let me switch screens here. And Jimmy, can you confirm that you can see my screen?
We can.
Okay, perfect. So let's just hop straight into pricing. I know that also we're going to have a Q&A here in a second. Hopefully, I'm sure this might generate some questions here too. But you can see that we've actually got some pricing here. For the US, it's going to be $59 per user per month. You'll notice one of the first things you'll notice is that we're only selling this in 10 user, 25 user, and 50 user packs. And that's the only way that you can customer can get this vault. What's included in this? First of all, also that this is only named users. So this is not concurrent. This is not read-only. These are 10 named, 25 named, or 50 named. If a customer needs an in-between, they have to order them in 5 user packs. So, you know, if the customer had 14 users, they'd have to order the 10 and then the 5 user additional. So they'd have to have 15. So that's the only way that we're selling it. So what's included here? Obviously the pre-configured vault that we just showed you today, the OCR, it's a full OCR license that we're including for that price. The DocuSign integration, again, the customer would need their own DocuSign license, but this would include the mFiles DocuSign integration. We're also including IML. We're also including the network folder. Now, a couple things on those 2 items in particular. IML is not configured at this point, but it is included. Network folder is included, but it's not configured. As you can imagine, both of those items are usually directed for that particular customer, so you need to configure those if the customer needed that for them. We're also including a standard cloud vault. So this could be on-prem or cloud. Even if they order on-prem, they will also get a cloud vault. So we think that is very, very attractive. One of the first things that you'll see, a couple things that we also did is within the cloud vault, hopefully everybody can see here, is that we actually upped the performance. This DTU is basically a Microsoft terminology for performance. It's actually database throughput unit. It was set, we used to have that set at 25, and now it's going to be 100. Basically, they're going to get better performance on the standard cloud vault, small vault. They're also going to get more storage. Instead of now currently at 100 gig, they're going to get 200 gig. So one of the things that maybe hopefully everybody on this screen scroll down their eyes to is the first bullet point, is that you will receive your full standard margin on all these, according to your partner level, on these amounts. So as today, as all of you know, that we do not give full margin on OCR or any cloud vaults. You will receive your standard margin on this amount. So bottom line is it's advantageous to order it by like this instead of a piecemeal. Okay. You can order the back office vault only through with one of these packages. And of course, as everybody knows, or at least should know, that it's a minimum 12-month contract paid up front. So I think that hits most of the things that we wanted to cover. I will, one other thing I wanted to point out is that we're going to do a promotional campaign. Hopefully everybody knows that our next year is our partner conference is going to be in Dublin, Ireland. So we're going to run a campaign around that. So for the first 5 orders of the back office package, you'll receive $1,000 toward airfare to the M-Files Partner Conference and 1 free admission to the conference. For the next 20 orders of the back office package, you'll receive $500 toward airfare for M-Files Partner Conference and 50% off one of the admissions to the partner conference. So hopefully you can see that we're throwing some weight behind this, and hopefully that encourages you to promote this back office solution. So with that said, I'm gonna open it up to Q&A at this particular point. I know I've got a couple questions immediately around why do we limit to 50 users and what happens if it goes beyond 50 users. Right now, if they go beyond 50 users, they would have to order multi 50 user packs. But what I would say to that is right now, then contact your CAM and see about any special pricing of the case that would be. I would say that we're not going to do any piecemealing or 5 user or anything like that after that. It would have to be in a 50 user lot to do that. So hopefully that happens. Now, again, the reason why we've limited in this particular case or this particular moment is that we are gearing toward the SMB market, and we felt like these 3 packages, we could be aggressive in that line of business or that segment of the market for those particular customers. So that's why we've done it at this point. So got another question. Do clients pay the first year up front, or is it truly monthly? It is pay 1 year up front, as we do today on any subscription that we're doing. Okay. I'll leave it open to some more questions here and wait for a few to come across here. Again, I think we also had a question around compliance. Compliance is not included in this. And like Jimmy said before, we wanted to keep it simple, again, with no scripting involved, but also give you the ability to build complex vaults on this infrastructure. If you dive deeper into this vault, one of the areas, of course, Jimmy highlighted was that document type of object. Hopefully, maybe some of you guys are using that today, or that methodology. That is a best practices to do, because then you can leverage records management very easily on top of that and build even more complex structures and security around that. So let's see if there's any more questions. Hopefully this is something everyone can utilize within their with their customers out there. Jimmy, is there anything that you wanted to add at this point?
I do not.
Okay. I think I had another question. Does this replace our HR module? It does not. This does not replace any of our current templates, like the HR template, contract management template. It does not replace any of that at this particular moment. Okay. For access and when this is going to be available, this will be in the partner portal. It should be there, if not already, by within a few hours, hopefully by the end of the day today. The actual vault will be in there, and there'll be this presentation in there, and there'll be a scaled down presentation that you can use for your customers, that you can then turn around and add slides however you would like. And with the vault that's going to be in the partner portal will be a demo vault. It will have demo documents, demo data in there. When you go to order a clean vault, we'll have that vault available for you at the time of order, and your CAM will send it to you, that clean vault, when you place that order. But you will have this demo vault available for you pretty much immediately here, so you guys can start demoing. If you need, we'll also be conducting deeper dives from a technical end on the vaults. Jimmy will be doing that, so be looking out for that in the coming weeks and coming months. So if you have questions about that and how to build on that and some of the infrastructure pieces of that, we'll be doing that also. And we'll be also, there also is a sale card in the vault. Will also be that'll be available also today. We'll also be releasing in the next few days, hopefully within a week or so, an actual brochure or data sheet, if you want to call it that. And then we'll also be releasing a demo guide, and that'll help you through some of the demos that we've scripted here. So I do have another question. Can we integrate some of those other modules fully functional into this? Absolutely. So again, this is, this vault is fully open. We didn't lock this vault down. So if there is other things that you want to add to this, let's just say the Salesforce integration, or compliance modules that you want to add to this, you absolutely can. Okay.
Hey Ed, I just confirmed the all of the content that we published to the partner portal today is there and available in the partner portal. It's under back office vault materials. There's a document collection that includes the cell card, the presentations that you've seen today, along with the customer driven one, along with the vault backup. By Wednesday, you'll have a demo guide out there, and early next week, you'll have a configuration guide for the template available.
Okay. And I just had a question from New Zealand. When will pricing be released? We're in New Zealand. Nick, I will have to get back with Scott and Mika on that. I did know this is the pricing that's been released for the rest of the world. As I'll scroll back here, this is what we've released today. So I will definitely take that question back to those two and see if we have any special pricing for New Zealand. All right, we'll just give another few seconds here for any other questions. But I think that will wrap this webinar up. And again, this recording will be in Partner Portal also, maybe another day or two before we get it in there. But if you have any questions on this pricing, we've kept it simple, as you can see here, for all of our purposes. And again, just to stress again, that you will receive your full partner margin, even though we're including OCR Cloud Vault in this. So you get full partner margin on the pricing that you see on the screen. So, all right. Well, it looks like we don't have any more questions. Again, I want to thank everybody for their time, taking a look at this, and hopefully be promoting it and looking forward to working with all of you very, very soon. Thank you again, and have a great day.